Hi, Lynette. How are you?
I am well. How are you, Zach?
Wonderful. Not so
Good.
bad. Enjoying the beautiful weather today.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yeah, it's nice
Well,
here too. hmm
where are you from?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
Yep.
And for those
So
not familiar with that is, that's on the
it's
mid to
on.
west coast of Canada.
Yeah. So we're kind of like the Denver of Canada. We're just east of the Rocky Mountains.
Okay.
And so we get the same kind of, um, we get very variable weather because of the mountains, is what I
Sure.
would say. Yeah.
Okay. So is it like Denver where you get a lot of snow, or is it more arid, sort of like Colorado Springs?
It's kind of both. Like we are quite arid, but we can get huge dumps of snow, and we've got great skiing in the mountains right close to us here. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
What's the name of your what's the name of your agency?
It is Cloud Reach Solutions. I actually started it as Cloud Reach Digital Marketing and decided that I really wanted to work on a much more holistic basis than just marketing and maybe even
Okay.
just digital solutions. So I'm now going by Cloud Reach Solutions. I'm still in the transition phase of moving to
Perfect.
the name. Yeah.
What give me sort of a short origin story.
Sure. Yeah. I worked in business to business sales for probably over 20 years.
Okay.
And then I moved into software product management, so much more tech focused role. I was in that several different companies for about 10 years. And then I started a new job with a great company right at the beginning of COVID in software product management.
Okay.
But working from home was brutal. And long story short, I burned out
Gotcha.
and quit my job last year with no idea of what I would do. And here I am in digital marketing.
Here we are. What got you involved with it?
I looked at a bunch of different possibilities in terms of building my own business. I
Sure.
explored some kind of wild options, and at some point came across a digital marketing course, and so
Okay.
explored that. And yeah, I eventually decided I really wanted to take a shot at building my own business, helping smaller local service-based businesses. That really appealed to me.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. So it, excuse me. You mentioned that there's still sort of a transition period. How how's that going for you? Is it smooth?
Uh,
Is it kind of on the rocks?
Are any transitions ever smooth? I don't know.
Well,
um,
the best you can be, you know.
yeah. Well, I actually officially started my business April of this year, so in it for roughly 6 months.
Okay.
I think that there's a pretty steep learning curve, and I think it's really easy to get lost in the learning curve. But it's time for like I have also gone out and got a few clients,
Awesome.
um,
Very
you know,
cool.
started down that path, realized all the stuff I didn't know. So there's been a few speed bumps, some up and down, some trying to figure stuff out along the way. I feel like I'm starting to get on a good path now, though.
Good. Good. Is it a little bit more challenging than you thought it might be?
Uh, I think there's way more to know than I ever anticipated. And it's not just how do you run a Facebook ad. It's all the pieces of client relationships, it's prospecting, it's maintaining good communications, it's finding good team members to work with, it's understanding the nuance of so many different parts of the business. What makes good Facebook ad copy is probably an art and science all unto itself,
Sure.
right? So how do you get really good at all those different aspects of the job? I think that's super challenging.
So it's a little bit more involved than just trying to run some Facebook ads
Oh
for
yeah.
some
Yeah.
businesses.
I think you know that, right, Zach? I think you know how involved it is. It's
Yeah,
super.
I
Yeah.
yeah yeah it is. From what I've heard, starting this kind of business around 10 years ago, when Facebook was first rolling out their platform, you could just kind of put on whatever you want to, just like a girl in a bikini, and you get lots of clicks for
Yeah.
basically no money, and the leads
Right.
are just rolling, and you just start making money.
Yeah.
And there's some people selling courses that make it seem like it's still that easy. Maybe they are still in that mindset because they're not actively in the business, or they just want to make it seem a little bit easier, but we know that it's not. What besides it being slightly more difficult than you thought it would be, what's the one thing that you didn't expect?
I think coming in, because I really was a wet behind the ears newbie to all of this when I joined. So when I started, I didn't realize how many people are doing digital marketing, like how flooded this whole area has become.
Yeah.
And I think at the same time, what I'm seeing is the massive opportunity. So in spite of the fact that there's all these people trying to do what I'm doing, there's still huge opportunity. And so I think both those things have kind of surprised me, because even though there's all these people out there, I don't feel like I can't build a business doing this. I think there are really right clients for me that will really communicate with me and me with them in the way that is going to be meaningful. I think I'll be able to make a real difference in some businesses. I don't have to work with every single business out there to have a real business. And I also think that some of the people who are out there, unfortunately, I think are going about it in a bit of a heavy-handed way, hard selling, maybe just flogging one service and saying that's the answer, dropping the ball on delivery, those kinds of things. So I think another challenge is to really prove to potential clients that you're not that's not how you're going to operate, right? So
yeah, the barrier to entry is just so low because it just takes a computer and a little bit of training. So we do have to push past sort of the nonsense that and the businesses that have either been burned or have heard stories about being burned by people that try to be us, either if they have good or bad intentions. But I think that's what makes it so much better once you're able to get past that, and once you're able to start, building rapport, is that once they see that you're not like them, now you may have a client for life as long as you are actually good at what you do. So there are a lot of people in this space, but there's not a lot of people in this space actually doing
That's exactly right. Yes. There's not a lot of people who really understand what it means to come alongside a business owner and actually really care about their business and about how they're doing, and to really operate with integrity in terms of becoming an actual partner in the business. And that's really the only way I would do this. I am somebody who likes the large canvas, the long haul. I like big ideas. I like big projects. I like going the distance. And so that's really what I'm in this for, is to find those key businesses that I can actually build that kind of meaningful working relationship with.
Sure. Yeah. And if for better or worse, because of the amount of a competition that we have, I guess, it makes it so, unlike 10 years ago where you could get a lot of business really quick, the people that aren't doing it correctly are now not able to actually build what they want. So it's just kind of a churn and burn. So there's definitely pros and cons, but there's definitely still a really good space for us. So I just hope that listening is like, oh, it's too crowded, I don't want to do it, because it just takes time, right? A lot of tears, a lot of stress, a lot of frustration, but I think it's worth it.
But I also think it takes something that you hear a lot about in software product management, which is product market fit. And I think it applies here too. So I'm going to bring a particular approach to business. I'm going to bring a particular skill set of solutions, and that's going to be a good fit for some businesses and not a good fit for others. So it's finding that right fit, I think, that is really key.
Yep. And then it comes down to make sure that when you're doing your cold reach outs that you're not just like, oh, I got a couple no's, this, and just move on, make sure your sample size is there.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge that you're facing right now, and how are you trying to get past it?
I think right now my biggest challenge is actually kind of personal. And so I hope it's okay if I go there. After I burned out in my tech job, I did all the things. I did the walking and the reading and the meditating and all of that, to try to get back to good space of energy and all of that. And therapy, I did the whole 9 yards, and I really felt like I made some good headway. I felt like, okay, now I'm ready to jump right back into the business world, go at it. And I've just discovered that, as you get older, you carry more stuff with you. And my point, my soft spot, the place where I can easily start to get overwhelmed or anxious, is really related to technology. And actually, even simple things sometimes can get me, like setting up a new account for something or figuring out how it works. I just very quickly feel overwhelmed. So I think I'm at the point now where I'm saying, okay, this isn't something that I'm just going to be able to fix. Like, this is now part of who I am. I know there are certain things that I just sort of have to be mentally prepared for to go into them, and maybe have some good support mechanisms in place so that before and after I can just make sure I'm taking care of myself. Because some things are just like that for me right now, I find. And so that's been my challenge. It's a challenge just from a personal perspective to take on some of those elements that I find personally challenging. Yeah.
There you go. And the journey is different for everybody. So if don't be ashamed that you're not where somebody else is, because you're not them, you're not in their shoes, right?
Totally, completely. And I think it also gives me more empathy for other people when I see them struggling with something or feeling overwhelmed by something. And that can also apply to business owners, right? Because they also have those feelings at times. So I think it helps me to be able to better walk in somebody's shoes and really understand that, oh, okay, I get how this feels and I know it's not fun. And here's some ways I might be able to actually support or help or walk alongside somebody. So I'm not thinking of it really as a negative. I'm learning to just accept that, I'm not always as strong and resilient as I want to be. And I think after COVID in particular, it really wore me down. I don't know. I know it did others too, but I think we all are struggling kind of to come back into our, full energy again. And so I just kind of take it as part of that as well.
Well, as far as the empathy side goes, I mean, would you say that would help in these sort of situations, being more of a business advisor?
Yeah, I think so. I think that if you've struggled with your own uncertainties, feeling of overwhelm, anxiety, if you really know what that feels like, because it feels terrible. But if you really know what that feels like, you can't help but have empathy for somebody else who's struggling with the same thing.
Yeah.
And occasionally there may be a way that you can even reach out and support that person, right? I know other people have reached out to me and been really supportive. And that's made a huge difference. So I want to be able to do the same thing for others that I come across.
Awesome. Great. What's the most important lesson that you've learned?
I think the most important lesson is take action. And then when you've taken an action, then take another action, and then follow that up by another action. And I'm really good at giving myself excuses. They're really rational and they're well thought out and they make a ton of sense. But they're excuses. So that's I think that's the most important. And I'm preaching to myself as I say that, of course.
I found, and I've read, seen clips from a lot of like the more well-known people in not only this space, but but sort of like sales marketing in general. And the consensus is you don't really have a grasp on how much volume is enough. How many cold calls or emails or prospecting methods or this or that. You're like, oh, I did a couple phone calls today. Okay, so where's the other 95? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go so far that you burn yourself out, but it's especially if you're struggling, do 2x, 3x.
The consistent action really does pay off. I say that not because I can claim to have been super consistent in the last few months. I get easily distracted by all kinds of bright, shiny objects, but I will say that in my prior life in business to business sales, I did a lot of cold calling. And my experience was that if I was consistent, and it didn't even need to be every day, I would try to make 30 cold calls 3 mornings a week, because I had lots of other stuff. I was putting together proposals and blah, blah, blah. Right. So, but if I did that consistently, I knew I would get results. They might not come on the Monday or even the Wednesday. They might not come till the next week. But at some point I would talk to somebody that was a really great person to be talking to, who either would become a client or could point me to somebody else who might become a client, or my phone would ring, like something would happen.
Right.
If I didn't do that, nothing would happen.
So it's not going to ring. Right.
No, nothing happens. So I know this. Now it's just up to me to actually do it.
Yeah. It's all numbers. I mean, even if you're as bad on the phone as I am, I think I've been doing pretty good so far, but I have a wicked speech impediment, especially when I get nervous. And it's just, so if cold call is not your thing, you can always do prospecting several other ways. Or if you want to get better, just go do it, because you're never going to talk to these people again. So if you mess up, like I do, you're like, oh, so dumb. Like what? And you just keep doing it, and week after week, it'll get better.
Yeah, it will. And you'll start to learn pretty quickly, like what resonates with people, what doesn't, tone of voice, friendliness, level of energy, like all of that makes a difference.
Right.
And you do pick it up pretty quick if you're paying attention to the process as you roll through it.
You'll never get You'll never get the 100th rep if you don't do the first.
That's so true, right? And my dad used to always tell me, because I learned to golf late in life, and I'm a pretty bad golfer, but I enjoy it. And he used to say, you got to hit 10,000 golf balls. And it feels like a little like that in prospecting as well, right? Like, you will get good at it, but you need repetitions to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you can give a 30-minute speech about a digital marketing topic, what would it be?
Well, interestingly enough, right now, what I'm thinking about a lot is something called trust-based SEO.
Okay.
And because I have been looking at different service offerings and came across a woman who actually offers trust-based SEO, has been doing it for 15 years. And so she takes websites of local service-based businesses, and she can get them ranking for one. She guarantees that she will get them ranking for one keyword, page 1 of Google, within 90 days or your money back. And she says she has never had to give her money back. So I'm very intrigued. I will not call myself an expert in this at this point, but I fully intend to work with her as my expert.
Yeah.
And I want to learn more. How does this work? She said, we just understand what it takes to actually build trust with Google. Because if Google trusts you, you're on page 1. So what are those key components where you can actually build that trust? And she said, we focus in on those elements, and the rest of it is less important. So we know what it takes. And then, of course, once you're ranking on page 1 within those first 90 days, then, of course, she keeps building it out until you get that really solid foundation that good SEO is. But it's that ability to go for the jugular, like early, right? And just get her done, that I find super interesting. And especially for, small local service-based businesses, I think this could be huge for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
Wow. Hey,
that's
maybe
like,
we get to learn together, Zach.
if people want to outsource technical or other parts of their agency, what should they start with, and who would you recommend to outsource to?
Yeah, I'm still early in this game. So I'll just tell you what I'm exploring. And
Okay.
I don't have any names to throw out
Sure.
at this point, to be honest. But, I'm really trying to decide in terms of delivery services, because I don't want to, and nor do I think I will have the capacity to deliver everything on my own. I will need people who are really good at this. Are those people from a white label agency that I can draw on, who act like my team members but actually work for a completely different agency? Or are they individual team members that I find and hire? And so really spend the time looking for those really key people. I
Sure.
have worked with several different delivery service people. I would say that at this point, I don't have huge recommendations, because I feel like I'm still figuring out what it takes to be a good service delivery person, what
Okay.
it takes for me to work in a good relationship with them. I'm still learning so much. So I don't know, like, talk to me in
Okay.
another 6 months and I'll probably have a better answer for you, but
Sure.
I'm on a learning curve.
Well, for anybody out there, it is, at least for me, I didn't get in this to make myself a new job.
No.
And sort of the idea, and if that's what you want to do,
Mm.
to anybody listening,
Mm.
there's plenty of work to be done all by yourself. But if you want to actually do this and not only make money but help the most amount of people that you can,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to either employ other people or going to bring in, because you'll just work 12, 14, 16 hours a day doing all the tech and all the cold outreach, all the sales calls, and you're running back and forth and pull your hair out. And then the guy next door has got 3 people working for him, and you probably can't do this just from laying on the beach. You still have to be active, but
Right.
but you can split your time. And so it's better to have, it's better to have, a piece of a huge pie than have the whole pie of just something small.
Totally. And if you're going to try to do it all yourself, like if you're going to be the clown that's juggling all the plates or balls or whatever,
Yep.
Whatever the metaphor is, you are only going to get to a handful of clients that you can actually service, right? Like, you're really going to limit your own growth. So scaling demands that you have experts that know more than you do in some really key areas.
Right.
I will never become an expert in all those areas. So yeah.
And even if, the world of the word of like scaling gets thrown around, like, oh, you want to scale your agency.
Right.
Even if you just want to, get to the mark of like 10 or 12 $1,000 a month or whatever, but you're doing this because you're a lawyer and you hate your job and you want to spend more time with your kids, or you want to go and do more hobbies.
Yeah.
You're just trading one really long job for another.
Yeah.
With very low job security.
Yeah, totally. So like, when you ask me who to outsource to, you're sort of making an assumption about the kind of agency owner that you're talking to, right? Because
Sure.
You could be saying, hey, how are your Facebook skills coming?
Yeah.
That's a different agency owner who's doing it all. And I have mad respect for some of the people that I've met who understand PPC ads and Facebook ads and can actually get into the nuts and bolts and troubleshoot and do all of that. I hope to have a deeper technical knowledge as I go along to gain that. But my vision for my company is not that I'm the one doing all of that all the time. My vision for my life and my company and everything is that I get to sort of chart a course, have a vision, a direction, and have lots of people who are really smart in ways that I'm not working with me.
Gotcha. Awesome. In your opinion, what is the most important personality trait or strength someone would need to work as a suggestion as an agency head? I don't think that was typed out correctly.
Yeah, might want to check that question. I understood what you meant. So I would say it's something we've already talked about. My number one would actually be empathy, because I think that it makes a huge difference in working with the team that's around you and also working with clients. Because if you are working from a place of empathy, you are listening, you are watching, you are observing, you are taking in, you are asking questions to really try to understand that other person. And that goes a long way in terms of working well with other people, whether that is your team or whether it is your customer. And so that's number one. And then for me, hot on the heels of that is communication. Really
Okay.
good communication skills. And I think if you have good empathy, I think you also have better communication skills, frankly. I think they kind of go together. But again, if I'm not putting together the Facebook ad, I'm going to be communicating with someone who is, right? And I can only give that person who's doing the ad the right information if I've had a really meaningful conversation with the customer about what their needs and wants are. So I see myself in the middle of customer and team, and I have to be pretty damn good communicator, I think, to keep all the wheels turning in the right direction.
Of course. And are these skills that you think could be learned through repetition?
I think that when it comes to I think to empathy and communication, I think you can definitely get better at them. I think, like with anything else, some people are just going to have more of a natural aptitude, if you will. But there are always tricks you can learn, and little things you can try. Like even just something like communication. If you're not a really good listener, just try this: the 5 whys. Right? So
Okay.
somebody says something to you, go a little deeper. Oh, that's interesting. Why did you think that? Why did you do that? Why did that happen? And then they give you an answer and you ask the next why, and you keep going. You can actually test this out and see whether you actually get more out of that communication if you keep asking more questions, and challenge yourself to do that.
Sure.
If you're not a good listener or question asker.
Well, great. What's the one piece of advice that you would give to somebody that is starting out?
Yeah, don't get too lost in the learning, because there is a ton of learning, right? Like, it's nonstop. There are an endless supply of YouTube videos you can watch. There are an endless supply of courses you can take. There's lots of great mentors. Now, all of that's totally valid, and you should do some of that. Just don't make that your job, right? Got to take action. We're back to action. You got to do that at some point.
It's the imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
Yep. And your action initially is guaranteed to be imperfect. So, go get that out of the way.
Right.
Go trip over your own shoelaces a few times. You'll pick yourself back up. You'll keep going.
Right.
The world won't stop turning.
You've never done this before. Of course you're going to suck at it.
Right.
Why would you be any good at it?
That's right. And if in that process you get a client, yay.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like, you don't just get born and then you're just like, oh, I can start running. You're gonna fall, but it seems like all babies, especially mine, they start to walk and wham,
Yeah.
they'll fall on their face and all right, I'm gonna try again, and they keep going, and they're.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor. Yeah, you watch a kid and they also never stop exploring and trying stuff out and seeing how things work. And you have to have the same mentality.
Yep.
Keep trying, keep exploring, try something. It might fail, but then you know that. And then you can try something else the next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who have been the biggest influences in your digital marketing journey?
So my digital marketing journey hasn't been that long yet. It's been relatively short, but I would say that I've learned some great lessons from people, number one, who do it badly, and the ball droppers and the over promisers and the hard sellers. I think we've talked about that a little bit already. So those have been some good lessons, because you can learn a lot from people who are doing things in a really poor way.
Yep.
And then on the flip side of that, I've come in contact and really been really grateful to have come in contact with people who approach this business from a real point of integrity. And you and Sheena are two of those. And also Jen and Chris, like the team at Atlas Agency Launch Lab, is really fantastic that way. So that has been a real support and an encouragement to me, that there is a way of doing this business that really aligns with who I am as a person. And I don't have to go be a hard seller or a, rah type. I can be me and bring what I have to the table. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. But you're about to be in week 6. How do you like it so far? Is it?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Have been challenged at times. That whole tech thing we talked about has been a little challenging for me at times, but it's been really good. I think what the course has done is really forced me to think deeply about who I am and who I am in this business, and what that means for how I want to build the business. Yep. And I think those are super important things to think about, because I think for a business to be successful, it really needs to be able to showcase who you are and who you are authentically, right? So, yep. And so it's not just about building an idea of a business, it's about building a business that reflects who I am as a person. And if you do that piece right, if you get that figured out, then I think the rest can take care of itself.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than just showing you how to push buttons, and
it's a lot more.
Make sales calls.
Yeah. I have had to push a few buttons, and that's been really good for me in ways that haven't felt good, but there's been lots more to it as well.
Right. Excuse me. That's also the only way to grow is to just look outside your comfort zone. How do you feel like having? You mentioned the sort of an information overload because it's being thrown. How do you like the way that the weeks have been set up, where you only get so much sort of per week, and it gives you time to digest it?
I think it's good. I will say that I can see the value in it. Other courses, I've taken a couple other courses, and they've given me the whole thing at once, and I did plow through the whole thing at once. But I will tell you that, for it to sink in, I need to go back to it.
Yep.
But I also am somebody who really likes sort of seeing the path and the big picture and knowing sort of what the pieces are.
Okay.
So and I think I got an outline of the course at the beginning, so I can kind of see what's coming.
Yep.
But yeah, so I would for me, I would want the course outline. Sure. And then I'm fine with it being, dished up 1 week at a time.
All right, awesome. Well, this isn't meant to be a big plug for us. I just wanted to see how your interaction was. So
yeah.
What is one lesson that entrepreneurship has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
I think the biggest lesson, and I probably talked about this a little bit already, that is really real for me right now is I think that the way that I meet challenges that come across my path and the way that I respond to them actually shapes who I am moving forward. And that means I can become more resilient, or I can become more closed in, afraid, and less willing to take risks. And I think in my past, when I met some challenges, I kind of closed in, became less willing to take risks. And I think I'm really realizing every time I meet a challenge, I need to figure out how to meet that in a way that doesn't have me shrinking back from it, that I'm willing to meet it head on, find the resources I need, that kind of thing. So that's maybe a little bit of a complicated answer, but sure. But it's really just about meeting challenges and learning and growing from them and being open to that.
Awesome. Good. What underrated tools or tool are, are indispensable for your job?
I have a few. One is LastPass for passwords.
Okay. Yeah.
I had to try to figure out how to keep track of all those passwords. I go completely nuts. And I'm using the free version, and it's already saved my life, right? So
That's great.
the other is I've fallen in love with voice notes, whether it's sending them through Facebook Messenger or text, or whether it's even just recording for myself. I can do it while I drive. I can do it when an idea comes up. I use Otter AI quite a bit.
Okay.
And the other one that I use is such a simple tool. It's just the Notes app in my iPhone. I pop that open all the time and just throw something in there, and then I can search and find it. It's so dead simple. Like, I haven't been able to move over to Notion or any of those apps because I don't want the complexity. I just like the dead simpleness, right, of capturing thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Just real quick on LastPass. If you're somebody that has a hard time, obviously remember the passwords, or you have like a manila folder with them all written down and they're all crossed off when you got to change them and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a really cool it's a really cool free software where you just put all your passwords in, and then when you go to click on like Facebook and I want you to sign in, it'll just autofill. Yeah. So it's pretty sweet. It's all encrypted. So at least harder to be hacked than, I don't know if it's unhackable, but it's
never 100% safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it'll hold more than just your passwords too. So even there's a section there where you can put things like wills and family information that might be important to somebody, you know, and you can, and you can actually set someone up so that they can access your file by answering a specific question rather than having a password, I think. So if you die, they can get a designated individual can get easy access.
Cool.
Without you having to give them your password, right? So
gotcha. Well, just real quick, what street did you grow up on? What was your dog's name?
Just real quick, let's just do that.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I have no idea. And by that I mean, I know I'm supposed to have this grand vision for, you know, I'm going to be making blah blah blah, and I'm going to have X number of clients and all of that. What I really want to build between now and 5 years from now is I want a day-to-day that I wake up looking forward to. I want to work with people I enjoy working with, whether that's my team or my clients. I want to feel like I'm making a meaningful difference in people's lives. And if I can do that, I'm hoping that what that gets me is some peace of mind financially and the ability to maybe help some other people along the way. So I don't know. Is that a vision?
Yeah. Just make yourself better, make your circumstances better than they are today. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird to think 60 months down the road, right? Think about, you know, what you're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's been about 40 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, really. So the point of this, I don't think I did any sort of intro when it was just my name is Zach. I'm with Atlas Agency Launch Lab, also with Atlas Online Solutions. The point of this podcast is just to make it really quick. I know a lot of other live interviews and stuff. There's a lot of back and forth and chatter and stuff and going on, and really want to try to take all the fluff out of it and sit down with people that have been doing this for 10 years or somebody that's been doing this for 6 months, and you know, see where they're at, what they've learned. Hopefully they have any sort of nuggets for at least one person listening to this that maybe either is on the fence, or maybe, you know, they want to give up because it's too hard. Hopefully something they answer today will be like, okay, yeah, I can do this, or, you know, that makes a lot of sense. So I just want to sit down with people. If you're watching this and you'd like to be one, please leave a comment. Where can listeners find you online?
Oh, you're asking me that?
Yes, sorry. That was, I was phrased wrong. I'll post a question for you.
I'm still building out my online presence, but you can find me on Facebook.
Awesome.
You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn. My email address is Lynette. You see my first name spelled out there, 1N, not 2,
Okay.
at cloudreachmarketing.com.
Awesome.
That will change, but for now it's still cloudreachmarketing.com. Feel free to send me a note if you've got any questions for me.
Sure. And how can people support you in your work?
Connect with me. Reach out. Let's have a conversation. I love meeting new people. Whether you are somebody who's working in the business, looking to, if you're an expert who's got services you want to offer, or if you're a small business that is struggling with all the many tasks of a small business, including marketing, happy to have a chat. Would love to get to know your business a little bit better and see whether there's any kind of a way that I can help.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, excuse me. Before I end this, if anybody has any questions, they are not happy with the current program that they're in. They were in a bunch. Maybe they were flooded with the information. Maybe it's just not working for them. Atlas Online Solutions. I'm sorry, Atlas Agency Launch Lab. And then we have a bunch of stuff that starts with Atlas. So I'm going to get all messed up. Was set up to bring real-time information, indigestible pieces for those people that feel like they were wronged, or they just can't get their feet underneath them. You can find us on Facebook, Atlas Agency Launch Lab. We have a group. You just come on in. We do lives at least once a week in that group. I think this one is going to somewhere else. And hopefully we can just answer your questions. And if you're interested in learning more, just reach out. Okay. I want to thank you again, Lynette. Thanks for sitting down with me for almost 45 minutes to talk about your journey. So
no, thank you, Zach. It's been fun. Yeah.
All right. Great.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.